So let's jump right into this explainer. Imagine you've just spotted a recurring failure in your operations. You've diagnosed the problem, and you've totally rebuilt the workflow. The pilot run goes off without a hitch, and it is so tempting to just declare victory and move on. But here's the slightly brutal reality. Fixing a process is really just the starting line. Favorable conditions have a habit of hiding operational weaknesses, and without a permanent system of evidence, your shiny new rebuilt machine, well, it's already becoming obsolete. We need to look at how to stop running a business on assumptions and instead run it entirely on hard evidence.
To do that, we have to constantly challenge ourselves with this incredibly direct question. And I don't mean, did we try our best or did everyone follow the procedure, but quite simply, did it work? You see, a successful pilot run is not some permanent operating license. The very second a new workflow meets the real world, it immediately starts accumulating new delays, weak handoffs, and a heavy reliance on heroic employees just jumping in to save the day. Without continuous evidence, your rebuild process is going to slowly decay into your next dead process.
Because over time, a documented process always drifts away from reality. Maybe a salesperson skips a required field just to save time, or an employee builds their own private spreadsheet because, let's face it, the official software is way too slow. Every single one of these emergency patches creates hidden debt, so you end up in a situation where management is sitting in a boardroom confidently judging the official workflow while the customers are out there experiencing a messy, patched-together real workflow.
So how do businesses usually hide from this drift? Well, they hide in activity. But let's be absolutely clear here. Busy is not a result. Activity is not proof. People attending back-to-back meetings, updating project boards, or firing emails into the void only answers one question, which is, did people do something? It absolutely does not answer, did value actually move? There's a sharp, unforgiving line between your team merely completing their tasks and your system actually delivering the promised value to the customer.
Every single action in your business falls into one of four buckets. It either creates value, protects it, destroys it, or it's just neutral busy work. Now, we all know value destruction is bad, but neutral busy work, that is quietly highly dangerous. Things like duplicate data entry or reports that literally just go to die in someone's inbox, they might seem harmless, but they eat up time, they lengthen your cycle time, and they invite errors. Basically, if a step doesn't create or protect value, it really needs to justify its existence.
Now, when we talk about going faster, we have to make a vital distinction: system speed versus human hurry. Human hurry is, quite frankly, a management failure. It means rushing your employees, extending their hours, skipping over quality checks, and offloading process failures right onto the backs of your people. That is a one-way ticket to burnout. System speed, on the other hand, is responsibility. It means actually removing systemic friction, clarifying who owns what, and completely eliminating waiting times. We shouldn't be making people run faster through a bad process. We need to make the process stop wasting their time.
The real hidden cost of a slow operating system is slow learning. We call this feedback latency. This is that really dangerous gap between the exact moment a process begins to fail and the moment the business actually notices and does something about it. Think about it. If a customer gets totally confused during onboarding, but you only find out because of a survey 3 months later, your feedback latency is dangerously high. And high latency allows small, fixable defects to quietly turn into structural habits across your entire company.
Which brings us to a rather stark metaphor. The lions are consequences. And guess what? They do not pause just because your management team is still debating the problem. While you delay your decision, customer trust is decaying, churn is rising, margins are eroding, and opportunities are just vanishing. The market really does not care that you need more time to collect data. You need faster evidence and faster correction because consequences compound every single day you operate on assumptions.
So how do we force that faster evidence? We introduce a mechanism that entirely removes the comfort of waiting. Under a negative price ultra guarantee, if the promised value is missing, the business pays a financial penalty. It forces the price negative. This changes the game completely. You can no longer postpone answering, did it work? The penalty acts as a diagnostic trigger, forcing the business out of its comfort zone and transforming everyday, ordinary operations into real-time, continuous testing. And this brings us to the real operational engine of a strong business, the continuous value loop. This is the permanent operating condition that finally replaces assumptions with hard evidence. It requires a business to constantly measure, correct, optimize, and automate in an endless cycle. It is not a one-time pressure test. You are building a system that is literally capable of learning from every single delivery. The first step in this loop is measure, but I don't mean passive reporting or throwing up some vanity dashboards. True measurement has to answer where exactly is value moving, where is it waiting, or where is it disappearing. Every single metric you track must trigger a specific operational decision. If a metric doesn't actually lead to an action, well, it's just another form of busy work.
Once your measurement exposes a leak, you must correct it. And you have to do it with extreme specificity. Please do not respond to a weak result with vague, generic demands for more effort. You have to find the exact failure point. Was it a weak handoff? Was it poor customer selection? Maybe an unnecessary approval layer? Once you find it, you introduce exactly one testable correction. So, for example, if incomplete sales handoffs are causing delays, require one structured success condition before delivery even starts, and then measure the impact.
Now, as we apply these corrections, keep this rule in mind. Fix the system, not the person. Continuous testing is absolutely not employee surveillance. We are evaluating whether the system enables reliable delivery. Was the input complete? Did the trigger arrive on time? Proper testing should actually protect competent employees from being unfairly blamed for structural, systemic failures. All right, so once a process is corrected and proves that it actually works, then you can optimize it. This is where you get to strip away all those unnecessary handoffs, reduce manual interpretation, and lower the effort required from your customer. You start asking, can the same value arrive sooner? Can the customer just provide their information once instead of 3 times? You're basically smoothing out a process that is already valid. And that leads us to a critical anti-hype reality check. Don't automate assumptions. There is so much noise out there right now about automating everything immediately. But if you automate an unproven or a failing process, you are literally just going to amplify that failure at a much faster speed. You should only automate work that is rule-based, highly repeatable, and has already proven to create or protect value. Do not automate a broken handoff just to make it disappear from your desk faster.
But the loop doesn't just magically end with automation. Because automation fundamentally changes the process, customer behavior is going to adapt, and new exceptions will inevitably emerge. So the process must re-enter the loop. You have to repeat it and measure again to ensure that value wasn't somehow destroyed in the transition. The process must continually earn its right to exist.
As you repeat this loop, you might be wondering, how do we make sure the metrics don't just become the goal itself? You have to be highly cautious of metric gaming. Any measure can become destructive if people start optimizing the number rather than the actual outcome. Like, if you only reward speed, a support team might close tickets rapidly, completely ignoring the fact that customers just keep reopening the same unresolved problems. To stop this, you need balanced evidence. Speed must always be paired with quality, actual proof of value, and a solid measure of customer effort and rework.
And you ensure that proof is reliable by designing it directly into the delivery itself. Businesses so often treat proof as an afterthought, delivering the service and then searching for feedback weeks later. That is incredibly weak learning. A true continuous test environment captures the final evidence inside the workflow itself, right at the exact moment the value appears.
So the crucial takeaway is this: every delivery is a test. That might sound a bit intense at first, but think about the alternative: operating completely in the dark, relying on hope, heroic intervention, and customer tolerance. That creates massive organizational anxiety. Building a continuous test loop actually creates freedom. It replaces all the internal politics, the emotional debates, and the finger-pointing with visible, repeatable learning. When you know exactly how value moves and where proof appears, you can operate with total confidence.
To see this philosophy out in the real world, we can look at NegBook. This is literally the first book in the world with a negative price. The promise is completely uncompromising. Either you read the book and it helps you, or you read the book and it pays you. And this isn't just a clever gimmick. It actually transforms the offer itself into a continuous test. Every single reader provides either a positive result, which is your evidence, or a negative result, which serves as a real-time diagnostic signal. It forces the business to stay completely accountable to proven outcomes.
So if you want to stop guessing whether your processes actually work, you really need to shorten the distance between your promise, the delivery, and the evidence. You can apply for the -1 diagnostic at negbook.com/negative-price standard. Now, the goal here isn't to just build you another dashboard that tells you what happened last quarter. It is to help you build one complete, real-time learning loop around a real customer promise so you can measure, correct, optimize, and automate based on reality.
Ultimately, your business is either continuously learning or it is slowly failing. favorable conditions will end, and the market will test you every single day. So you really have to ask yourself, is your business currently operating on hope, or is it running on hard evidence? Because a strong business does not prove itself once, it keeps proving itself.